with a rusty old tractor and a trusty old mule. I keep this place running, trying to play it cool. I'm maintaining my half-ass homestead where the bluegrass grows, working the land with my hands, that's how it goes. Though it ain't fancy, it's the life for me, living off the land, happy and free.
All right, here waiting for people to join. See where we get going in on this one. All right, as you enter the room, and introduce yourself and say hi. That way I know who you are. And we'll get started on this one here. Hey, Len, how we doing? All right, so I'll be honest. I wish I would have gone to the Arkansas meetup this year instead of the Oklahoma meetup last year. Everybody down there at River Valley Homestead meetup really looks like they're having all this year. And they have a lot more going on for people to do than what they had last year at Oklahoma. It's like the dunk tank and the bounce house and, just everything is going on. I mean, they did fishing contests and stuff like that in the Oklahoma meetup. But it wasn't the same. Totally different group of people. And a lot more time was spent last year with presentations and the giveaways and everything. Where this year they were kind of breaking off more into more private groups after things got going. And I think it would have been a more relaxed setting, I believe. But I will do my best. I'm not going to make any promises here, but I will do my best to try to make the next one. Especially if they're going to be doing it over there at Blue Mountain Lake with, the family from that area, because that really looks like they're having a good time. And the pie in the face thing, poor Mel. Tim deserved it. But poor Mel, she got it. She got it good. So I'll say this week, what have we had going on this week? Well, for starters, I had a workman's compensation hearing. Did not go well. The doctor's been trying to get me scheduled up for cortisone shots now for well over a year, and they keep denying it. So the lawyers finally had it put in front of the judge for a hearing, and the judge said, okay, well, look, in our documentation that we have in front of us, there's nothing that justifies. And I'm like, yeah, and you don't have arthritis and your foot was caused by the infection from having hardware put in my foot that I was allergic to. You know what I'm saying? Because I've got arthritis like crazy in my ankle now from it. And that's the purpose of the cortisone shot, was to alleviate the pain and suffering of the arthritis from it. And he says, yeah, no, your doctor's not giving us the needed information to be able to prove that point. And another thing that they got on, my lawyer got on me about was, I've been buying my own braces, I mean, I've got braces here that my doctor gave me. And the first two worked great. When the second one was wearing out, I told him I would need another one. And what he gave me, he's like, well, we don't do that brand anymore. So what he gave me would be for somebody that had like a sprained ankle. That did absolutely nothing for me. Nothing for me. There was no ankle support. There was nothing to it. It was just something you wrap around your ankle, Somebody will put another extra sock on if I'm going to wear that one. So I didn't do much good. So I went to CS. Actually, first time I reached out to Amazon and I bought the original brace that the doctor ordered for me. Funny thing being, at the doctor's office, that brace cost $130. For me to go to Amazon and buy it was like $30. So it goes to show how much the doctor's offices get out of the money for promoting these things. That one started wearing out, and I reached out again, and they didn't have my size. It has to be the large. They had medium, and I did buy a medium, but I can't wear it. It's too tight on my ankle. So went to CVS, and I found an ankle bracelet or ankle brace there that has the supports around the bottom of the heel and up both sides of the ankle, and I bought it. And my lawyer told me, she says, "You're not allowed to do that." I was like, "What do you mean I'm not allowed to do that? I need to have this thing. It's a given. I got to have it. It's cortisone shots." And she says, "Well, if you have to have it and the doctor's office can't give you what you need, then they have to find somebody to make it for you and have it prescribed to you, so the insurance company has to pay for it. You should not be paying for anything." And I'm like, "Lady, because I haven't been getting the cortisone shots, I've been, naproxen pills daily, all day long, to relieve pain from the arthritis." And she says, "Well, ask the doctor if there's something he can prescribe to you that's the same as naproxen, but done through prescription only." And I was like, "Well, if that's the case, it's going to be a stronger dose, and I don't know if I want something stronger in my body. I mean, naproxen's really no more different than like an Aleve tablet. They actually look exactly alike. So I don't know how that's going to play out, but I got to reach out to my doctor again. He just got the letter in the mail. I got my copy of it yesterday. So I know by Monday he'll have his copy and have a chance to read it. And then I'll call and make another appointment with him and see what we can do to go from there. But it's not looking good for me, I guess. I don't know. They keep saying you gotta have a maximum medical improvement. And I was like, yeah, I've already done 2 independent medical examinations, and both of them said, it's 50% loss of use. And I assumed that that's what they were going to run it on. She says, "No, you got to have maximum medical improvement." And I was like, "Okay, when's that supposed to happen?" She says, "Well, call your doctor and see if he can set one up." I said, "No, that's not up to me to do. If the insurance company wants to know when my maximum medical improvement is going to be, it's up to them to set up their own appointment for it. It's not up to me to call my doctor and set up an appointment for it." I refuse. I mean, it's as easy as that. I'm going on 3 years of being on disability. I just outright refuse. They're supposed to do medical for life, and they've turned me down for a year now. So I'm not doing anything above and beyond what I'm absolutely required to do for it. I don't care. But there will be a settlement at some point. I don't know what it'll be. I know that their lawyer for the insurance company reached out to my lawyer after that hearing and said, "We'd like to offer a settlement." And my lawyer told him, "It's up to my client. I'm not going to say he will take it. I'm not saying he won't take it. They won't say how much it would be or anything else." But I told her, I says, "No, because I know all future medical goes back onto me. And I know what it costs to have my surgery operated on the first time. I know what it costs to have them operated on it the second time. And I'm not going to be liable for coming up with $60,000-$70,000 to pay to go back in and fuse the bones because the cortisone shots aren't working anymore. So that's not going to happen. Not on my watch." Let's see. Yeah, something else exciting. I got my first egg yesterday. It's about twice the size of a robin's egg, but I got my first egg yesterday. And I didn't think any of my girls were ready to start laying eggs. So yesterday I went down to Tractor Supply and I wanted to buy some nesting boxes because, they're just laying them out in the yard right now. And they don't have any. So today we had to deliver the t-shirts and stuff down to a benefit for this weekend. And we went by a place called Lily's Tack and Feed, and out in the front of the store it had a sign that said chicks. Well, I told my girlfriend Leah, I says, "You know what, we're stopping there on our way back through. We're not staying where we're going. We're just going to drop things off and get paid and get out." So we went back to Lily's Tack and Feed, and I went in and I talked to the owner and I said, "Ma'am, I'm looking to buy nesting boxes." And she's like, "Well, I've got 2 here, but I don't think these are what you're looking for." And I was like, "Well, let me see them. Let me see what you got anyways, She's like, how many birds you got?" And I said, "Well, I'm back up to 9 now." And she says, "Okay." She says, "So you're going to want something like three nesting boxes or so." And I says, "Yeah, that's what I'm looking." And so she showed me what she had available. One of them was a big joke. All it was a lid to a 5-gallon bucket with a small roosting bar that sat off the front of the bucket. How do you mount that bucket to the fence? I have no idea. They don't have any hardware for it. They don't give any directions with it. You just buy the lid and put it on a bucket, and hopefully you figure it out. I was like, yeah, I don't want that one. And she laughed and she said, no, I don't need it. I like that one either. I don't even know why we got it in the store. And I was like, yeah, I don't know why either. And then she showed me another one, which is a lot like what Jeff has. And I told her, I said, well, that would be great, except for the bottom of those nesting boxes actually going to lean towards the back, which isn't a bad deal, except for if it leans towards the back and the eggs are small like they are now, they're going to lay an egg, get out of the nesting box, and the eggs are going to roll out onto the ground and break, and then they're no good anyway. So I was like, yeah, I don't want something with an open back like that either. So I said to her, I said, you ever watch a show on YouTube from the Veggie Boys? And she looked at me and she started laughing. She says, I love those guys. I said, well, you know, I've been a follower of them for the last couple of years, and they raise a lot of chickens. And I'd kind of like to try to find a nesting box similar to what they have. And she says, okay, fair enough. She says, I know exactly what you're looking for. They're made out of metal. They're made out of wood. I know exactly what you're asked for. I even know the size of the box they come in. I've had them here before, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you want one, they're not that expensive. I can order one and have it by next week. Done. You know, tell me how much it is. I'll come down and I'll pay you for it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think for the number of birds that I have, 3 nesting boxes will be plenty. I know a lot of people say, well, you should have 1 nesting box for every 2 birds. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not true. If that was the case, Gary and Melanie would never have enough nesting boxes in their chicken coop. I think they've got 5 or 6 nesting boxes, and they're up to like 20, 24 birds. Same thing with Anthony and Roxanne, you know. So I know that's not true. Chickens will share nesting boxes. And as long as I can put it where they're not going to be getting broody and hanging out in there, and I can actually chase the chicken out to go in and get the eggs, and life goes on. I don't really mind it. But again, watching Andrew and those guys over there to, yeah, the vegetable boys, they just reach in. If the chicken's in there, they just pull the chicken out, reach in, grab the eggs, and hey, you're not gonna sit and get broody because we need these eggs. I got to go into the farmer's market. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's probably the kind of nesting box I'm looking for. And she's like, yeah, I can get you that one. So I'm hoping she'll call me back here within the next 5, 6 days or whatever, and tell me she's got it in, and life goes on. When I told her about the ones that Tractor Supply that weren't in stock anymore, that's where she told me. She says, you know, that's where we differ from them. And I was like, why is that? And she says, Tractor Supply only gets in what's shipped by corporate. And corporate only puts in orders based on the need for all stores, not just 1 or 2 stores. Hey, well, thank you, Heartland HQ, Think and Tank. I appreciate that. So I'm hoping I get that nesting box anyway. That's on my game plan. I don't know if I told you or not, but I did find a way to keep weasels away from the chicken coop. It comes with, there's probably, well, actually, they're about the size of these bottle openers. Remember, I did these with the demonstration there the last time around to show how those pig clips or hog fence clips work. But there's a hanger with a hole in it, about the same size as the hole on top, and they're about this size. But they're a little bit thicker than 2 of these together. It'd be like almost like 3 or 4 of these held together. Hey, Lorenzo. And along with that, I mean, it doesn't come just like rod ties that you can tie that onto the outside of the fence with or whatever. And once you get it tied onto the outside of the fence, it's called wolf pee or wolf urine. You saturate that thing. And there's not a weasel in the neighborhood. Hey, Retro Ray, how we doing? There's not a weasel in the neighborhood now. Actually, there's very few animals in the neighborhood. I do still have my rabbits kicking around, which is kind of cool. It doesn't seem to bother chipmunks at all, which is all right. And you know, I mean, as long as it's not affecting the other game that I have around the neighborhood area, I'm content with it. I mean, if it keeps the deer out of the yard because they don't like the smell of it or whatever, that's their problem, not mine. Hey, Greg and Gina, how we doing tonight? But yeah, wolf urine. It's not cheap. I think it was like $40 from Amazon for the kit. But God, you get like I guess a dozen of those material hanging things that are like felt that you spray the urine onto, and then it just stays there. When it rains, it does wash it out of it, so you got to make sure you keep it at it. You know, I mean, every time you get a good rainstorm, just go out and give them each a couple more squirts. But my thinking is even if it rains, it's running that out of that felt piece, but it's going onto the ground right around the bottom of the cage, so it'll stop anything from wanting to go over there and try to dig under the cage. So I'm thinking it's kind of working twofold for me. But I do go out like today. It rained pretty good here. Actually, all week long it's rained pretty good here. Yeah, we're gonna go. Let's go. Cortland County itself is beautiful. I mean, I'm actually thinking about putting out a couple of videos of it won't be like a streaming video where you're watching, you know, me driving down the road and showing you all these fancy houses and stuff from different buildings. But it'd be like a snapshot of like the post office or the VFW or some of the other landmark buildings we have around Portland that are really nice buildings. And then just have it like go from one picture, fold the page to the next picture, fold the page to the next picture, put some music in the background, and just show a lot of it because there is a ton of it here, a ton of it. I mean, we were home with the Wickwire wire company back in the day. All crescent wrenches were made right here in Portland. Recently, it was a block and tackle business that was there doing it. But there's so many like really, really old places that are something that should be shared. I remember back in my day, I used to have a business called the Cortland Connection. And for the Cortland Connection, I shared a lot of the history of Cortland. And then when I had a buyer for Cortland Connection, I sold him the business, no longer be able to use the name. And I came up with another one. I don't remember what it was, but I actually reached out to our local historical society because they didn't have a website at present at the time. I reached out to the local historical society and said, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you share some of these old pictures along with the history of what they were for and stuff like that? And I'll do videos of it and I'll post them to the web. And I actually had a whole website set up where people could go there and they could look at it. I don't remember the name of it right now off the top of my head. I can't remember what I called it, which is sad because you could go back to the Wayback Machine if it's still available and pull it up and say, oh, yeah, that's what he's talking about. But, yeah, I blew the stone up with that stuff. We were the home of the Mack trucks. I mean, every year we have a Mack truck parade on Main Street, Cortland, celebrating the Mack trucks. That was a year that really put Portland on the map. We were the original owners of Smith Curl typewriters. They're manufactured right here in Portland. CR, National Cash Register Association. Originally, they were started right here in Portland. One recently just closed was Marietta Manufacturing, where when you go to a hotel and you get them little bottles of shampoo and conditioner or that bar of soap wrapped in paper and stuff with a hotel logo on it and stuff, that's what they did. I worked for them for a little while. That's what they did with stuff like that. And I mean, that was started in the original owner's garage. So that was pretty cool. I know all the owners from that. Actually, had a housekeeping business for a while, and we cleaned all of the houses to all the top people that own Marietta Corporation, all the way down to like the people that trained their technicians to work on the machines, the mechanics and whatnot. And yeah, I mean, and I actually worked with their engineering department when I was working there, because they were doing these, what was it? Mary Kay Cosmetics fingernail polish remover. And that had to have a folded towelette go inside of the package. Well, they could figure out the fold to get it to go in half and stuff down into the package, but they couldn't figure out the fold to get it folded in half before folded in half again to bring it into a quarter sheet. And my dad was an owner, and my dad played around with all kinds of things. So I went down to my dad and I said, Dad, if you had to do this, how would you do it? And he told me. And it was simple. So I went right down to Joanne Fabrics and said, look, this is what I need. And I don't care what the cost is. This is what I need. They hooked me up with it. And then I told them, I needed something that was like a ripstop nylon, I guess we call it. So I could cut it into strips and run it and make it so that it would work the way it was supposed to. And I did, and I got it going. And every night when I went in, I'd take their contraption off of me and I'd put mine on. I'd run it all night long, right till the last 10 minutes of my shift. I'd take mine back off, put it back in my locker, put theirs back on, and let their engineers suffer with it all day long, trying to figure out why they couldn't make it work, And finally, they caught on to it and said, well, wait a minute. Mr. Office can put on this line for 8 hours a day, and we haven't been able to run it for 20 minutes. Something's wrong here. And I was like, yeah, something was wrong there. What was wrong there was that you were overthinking what you needed to do. Give me $500 and I'll tell you what I made, and it'll work. And I did. I sold it to them for $500. Their engineers freaked out because of the simplicity, and they took it over and they ran with it, and they were able to finish the job. Where before the only production they were getting done was on my shift. That was only 8 hours out of a 24-hour shift. So I was like, that's funny. Let's see. Oh, there is something else going on this week. I have to get together with Natasha Dauber. She has found 2 different properties, one in Havana, I believe it is, and one in right by Blue Mountain Lake. And she wants my input on them and to find out whether or not I'd be interested in going partners with her on buying them, because they're both a little bit more expensive than they are up here. And I haven't seen the listings. I just told her before I got on my live, I don't do Facebook very often. I just told her before I went on the live, I haven't seen the postings yet. So when I get done with my live tonight, that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to go up, I'm going to pull up the conversations with her, see what I can find out about these properties, because I am very interested in buying property. Well, I'm 88 years old, and she says, oh, so when are you planning on moving to Arkansas? I said, Mom, I'm not planning on moving to Arkansas anytime soon. I mean, I got a 1900 house. It's only half remodeled. I got to finish this place up before I can put it back on the market. And she's like, oh, so it's not going to be anytime soon? I says, no, I'm just looking for a landing zone. I'm not looking for an immediate move. That's not going to happen. Same thing with my brother, Dale. He just retired this year. And he actually took me. Well, he didn't take me. I took him because I was driving. But on Mother's Day weekend, we took my mom, Leah, and my brother and I. We all went out to a place called Sicaro's, King Bar and Grill. And on the way back into Kirkland, my brother Dell said, hey, can you take me by this place? I want to show you something real quick. And I said, yeah, I know exactly where that is. I bought my truck right across the road from it. And so we went there. And he's like, you see this bike right here? And I'm looking at it. I'm like, yeah, it's a Can-Am. I said, yeah, I see it. He says, this is the one I've had my eye on. This is the baby. He says, this is my new girlfriend. Like, all right. Well, we talked about it because the house he's in, he owns the house under lifetime use for the old owner. And the old owner is having somebody build a wheelchair ramp that'll take up so much space in the garage that he won't have room to park the new bike in the garage. And I told him, I said, everybody in Arkansas, they're just going to like Tractor Supply, or not Tractor Supply, they're to like Harbor Freight and buying a garage in the box. They seem to hold up really well for 3 or 4 years. And of course, they get some pretty good wind and rain and snow up there, not as much as we do, but they get it. And he's like, yeah. I'm really liking that idea. I'm really liking that idea. Now he says, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. And we got together again on the phone. I think Tuesday. He called me and he says, Dave, he says, I think I came up with a garage solution. I'm like, what's that? And he says, well, my friend Eric owns a bunch of houses, and all of his houses have garages, and he doesn't let the tenants use the garage. So I think I'm just going to reach out to him and ask him if I can rent one of his garages. And I was like, Dale, he's your friend. I can't imagine him even wanting to charge you for it. No, I want to pay for it. I said, you can still probably pay for it, but I can't imagine him wanting to charge you for it. Is what I'm saying. No? Yeah, Rachel Ray, I don't know, because I mean, you look at the ones that Anthony Roxanne have, where he had his Harley park, or you look at the ones that Gary and Melanie have had, and now you got Mike and Lissa down there. They've been there for a year now, and they're just still standing tall and fine. They've had a lot of rain. They've had a little bit of snow. They've had the ice. They've had the wind by all means. I had one here that was sold by a company called QuickTime that I bought on Amazon for $349, and that one didn't last the first windstorm. It would have been out in the farmer's field behind me if it weren't for the fact that I had it tied to a bucket of cement. And the wind blew so hard that it pulled that bucket of cement up to two pallet rows of wood, two truckloads of wood that I had inside this canopy. I took that canopy, started right up against the telephone pole, and the only thing that kept it there was that one rope tied to the bucket handle that was full of cement. Even that bucket wouldn't have held it down, but because that bucket got cut underneath a pile of wood, that's what stopped it from blowing out into the farmer's field. Otherwise, I probably would have had to go out in the farmer's field and pick up the whole bucket of cement too. But that was just a freak thing. I lost the canopy over my camper on that one. I lost the canopy over my wood pile on that one. So it is what it is. But yeah, the ones Gary Mel and them guys have, they're a lot better made than the QuickTime brand. I'll tell you right now, that QuickTime brand, that thing was wadded. By the time we got it all tore apart, I think it took us probably twice as long to take it apart and get rid of it. We saved the top, of course, so the top and the sides, and covered the wood back up with it best we could. But the poles were bent. I mean, really bent. It probably took us twice as long to take it down as it did to put it together and put it up the first time. The only advantage we had of taking it apart and down when we did the way we did was that it only took two of us before. It took two of us to put it together, and then four of us to carry it over and set it into place and get it down or whatever. Sorry, Greg and Gina, but I can't help but laugh on that one. It takes a lot to burn those things down. Well, I guess maybe not a lot. All it is just plastic and pipe, but yeah. But they're good heavy duty tarps. When we were doing my chicken coop, I put a 10 by 10 canopy up out there, and the wind got a hold of that and threw it up against the side of my house. It didn't hurt the top of it. Everybody's like, "Oh, that thing's ruined." I was like, "Yeah, I don't think so." I said, "Let's just do it this way. Well, we'll take the bottom of the legs off completely, the extension parts. Take them right completely off, but and then we'll pull it out. We'll take the canopy off of it, check the canopy for reps. It ripped one Velcro corner, I think it was on it, or something like that. And the rest of the frame was fine. Those things got so much twistability to them, it's not even funny. So we just folded it up, stuffed it back in the bags. It's ready to be used next time. Everything I got to do now, is to reconnect those bottom legs to the other ones so that they're already there and ready to go. I did not put those in the bag. I just realized that the other day when I was out there working around the chicken coop that those legs did not make it into the bag with the rest of it. So I have to put those legs back into it and in the bag so that everything's all there. In other words, you got a canopy that's only about 4.5 feet tall and like ducking. And I surely don't like standing up in the center of something where you can't look out without squatting. So, but yeah, I mean, that's just a cheap $79 canopy. Not even 79. I think it was $49 at Walmart when we bought it. So that was a cheap one. The one over my boat, that was 179, and it was just a quick canopy, basically 11 foot tall and big enough to pull a camper underneath. And the problem I had was that I wasn't expecting any wind after we set it up, and it was almost a day after we set it up, we got hit with wind, and I never got a chance to fill the sand piece for it. We had it staked to the ground, but the 6-inch metal stakes don't do nothing to hold down a canopy that's big as a camper. No, but my mom is not going to move to Arkansas. Actually, my mom is probably never going to move outside of the apartment she's in right now. Yeah, actually, Lorenzo, you're right. They actually put all their chickens in there, and that's going to be the goat house later down the road. And I'll be honest with you, by putting that wood onto that thing and the way he did it, him and Melanie, that is not going anywhere. I mean, that's just like a whole barn now. And that's why I say those quick cut frames. That was the frame. They had one to get destroyed. It ripped right down the middle around, and all the tools were getting wet. So they bought another one and they replaced the canopy. All those poles were the poles that were left over from that second canopy. And he was just like, I think this will work. And Melanie's like, well, let's try to make it work. With all that wood that's on it, and with all that steel that's on it, I can't see it not holding up for many, many, many years. Because you don't have to worry about so much of the load weight. You got a metal roof. It's going to slide out faster off that metal roof than it will off of a canopy top. You don't have to worry about the wind getting up underneath there, picking it up and throwing it down the field, because it's going to be the thing probably weighs a ton. So yeah, and for you guys that are thinking about doing stuff like that, I will tell you, if you buy metal roofing, you can take a carbide tip blade and a circular saw and use that to cut a straight line through metal roofing, and it will not hurt the blade at all. Yeah, actually, Greg, that would make a beautiful garage for anybody. Yes, Lorenzo, my goal is to retire in Arkansas. I mean, I'm pushing Gary's age from over there to jump to gems. So, but if he can do it, I can do it. And to be honest with you, if I put my mind up to something, there's nothing I can't do. If I say I want to do this and I'm going to do this and blah blah blah, there's nothing to stop me from doing it. Right now, I'm trying to finish my house. We're 4 years into it. I've taken the last 2 years off because of being injured, and I'm not going to be taking any more time off from here on out, because my employee, who is also a carpenter and a tradesman, hasn't been working for me because sales have been real slow with the seed business, and I can't afford to pay him. But I can afford to do the work myself. It's not that I can't afford to buy the materials; I just can't afford to pay for the to do it. So I'm gonna go back into taking over a lot of that on my own, getting it finished up. And granted, I may not do it the way he was going to do it, but it's still going to get done. The upper hallway I did get painted for the first time here after I got going. Gina, I hear you. I'll be 60 this year on October 10th, and I'm already semi-retired now. I work for myself, and that is a great benefit. I don't have to call in to work. If I don't like doing anything for the day, it's not the day of the week it is. If I don't feel like doing anything for the day, or if I was leaving and going somewhere and doing something different, I have that availability. I'm salaried, I pay myself, so it doesn't matter what I do. The only thing that's really time crunch for me is that payroll done on Tuesdays. The only time crunch I have has to be done by 5 p.m. on Tuesdays. So it's not really a major time crunch for me. I can get up, hey, it's all good. I don't have to worry about, do I have to stay here in the payroll and then not be able to do this, or can I do that and come back and do the payroll? And most times just get up in the morning, do the payroll, get it out of the way, and then go do whatever I want for the rest of the day, you know. Speaking of doing what I want for the rest of the day, today we delivered the t-shirts over at the Jamboree, and I was at the time my buddy was band over there and talking about what, you know, the different events that his bands play at. He has quite a few bands he's using. And one of the events he has coming up, which I thought was funny, he says, yeah, he says, well, in November, we're having a big bash up to my place, so I'm probably going to want some more shirts for that. I says, all right, what's that bash going to be? He says, well, it's my 60th birthday. I says, really? Well, that's cool because I turned 60 on 10/10. And he looked at me, he's like, no way, dude, my birthday's 11/10. I was like, yeah, no way. So we're gonna have a bash up to his place for our 60th birthdays. And he's thinking about getting t-shirts made for that. And so I'm like, yeah, whatever you want them, you just tell me how many you want, what you want on them, I'll do them. I don't care. Yeah, I do their band t-shirts for them. This is the second event set of t-shirts I've done for them. And I don't mind doing them, you know. We're looking around because I wear white t-shirts, and this is what I get on right now. I wear white t-shirts that I print. I bought a bunch of white t-shirts thinking, oh, other people would like to have a t-shirt with logos on it or whatnot. Because it's clean look, all colors look great on white. And talking to him about it, and he's like, I can't do it. I can throw silver shirts, but I can't do the white. And I was like, why can't you do the white? The logo looks perfect on the white t. Like I've done band logo on bright yellow t-shirts and stuff. And he's like, yeah, well, he said, something about white, so all I do is look at dirt, and it's just dirty as dirt I'm looking at. I can't do it. I was like, all right, well, that's fine. You stick them with silver. Everybody else stick the silver too, which is fine. I don't mind. But I did buy a bunch of white t-shirts thinking that more people would them. I'm not big worried about it. But I don't know. I'm going to be going over to hang out with another old friend of mine. Right before I got hurt, and we were just getting the shop up and running. It was the year I got hurt. Beginning of the spring of that year, I got hurt. And, they were doing these like the country corner swap and shop. And I was like, okay. Well, they had a bunch of rules. They have alcohol on the property, but you can have people see you drinking that. That was easy enough. You just put it in a cup. Where my case, you leave it in the trailer, walk in the truck, and doing something, and everything will back out. Nobody knew, you know. That time I scared that trailer that I was looking for t-shirts or something for somebody. But I had t-shirts up on that too. So I'll be going to his house this Sunday, and I'm going to see if I can find somebody with assignment ability and say, look, you know, I've got X number of boxes of t-shirts. This is my paid t-shirt. This is what I want for t-shirt. And I'll give them to you to sell whatever you think you sell them for. The condition I get paid what I got invested in doing back. Because I think the Guild t-shirts this time were $3.10 a piece or something like that. And most of them are Guild t-shirts because that's what screen printers use. And I was getting into screen printing, so it made sense to have leaders on them. Then I decided I'd like screen printing, so that's why I pushed over to doing the dye sublimation printing. But I'm also going to be there looking at the people that have the animals. I just bought my last 2 birds off a lady that I met over there that year, and she'll be back there this year. And so I'm going to be over there talking to her again. Because, like I say, I just bought my last 2 from the cage from her to bring them home with. So I'm thinking about maybe bringing home 2 more birds. The coop is plenty big enough for them. I'll have plenty of nesting box space when I get that nesting box system from down there, Lowly Stock and Feed. And I think that would be really cool. And so that's one of my things for tomorrow. I'm gonna make that happen. It starts at 9 and ends at 1, so I got all time of the whole day pretty much to do it. And Lynn, I appreciate that. All right, well, guys, I'm gonna call it tonight. I'm running out of things to talk about. If you haven't yet, there's some great videos coming out. River Valley meetup over there, Blue Lake, Blue Mountain Lake, Arkansas. You know, Melanie was just live just before I started to go live. Dave did a live over there, and there's multiple people doing videos and stuff. Randall from Gypsy Travels down there, I watched. It was quite enjoyable. If you get a chance, go check it out. You know, if you're like me, you're like, I want to be there. Well, can't be there, but we can be there. We'll be there in our heart and in our spirit, and be there for the friends, family. So I'm gonna cut this one short tonight, guys. Everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hopefully tomorrow I can get my lawn mowed too. Haven't been able to do that in the rain. All right, guys. Have a good night. Talk to y'all later.